I think like a big rule I've been trying to practice for me is like not telling too many people about like first dates.
We have Joyce on the podcast today. A lot of times she's in the car, or like I feel like you like had just finished a date, you hop in and you do the debrief with us.
I do, yeah.
Okay, so it's immediate.
I think when I think about why do I get so attached and heartbroken, like why is that such like a perpetual cycle for me? I made rules to like remind me to not be so attached.
Hi everyone, I'm Hannah and we're back for another episode of BULGOGI Pod, and this is a very exciting one because we have Joyce on the podcast today. You guys might recognize her from her TikToks accounting her dating stories. A lot of times she's in the car, or like I feel like you like had just finished a date, you hop in and you do the debrief with us.
I do, yeah.
Okay, so it's immediate.
It's immediate, but I try to post it like the day later.
Oh, okay.
So it's not too weird.
Right.
But it's like instant recap.
Oh, I love that. But yeah, just so the people have a little bit of background on you, like where are you from? What do you do? Like whatever you want to share.
Okay. Well, I am an LA native. Okay. I grew up in the South Bay.
Yeah.
And I moved to Houston to do like school and worked. And then I moved back actually because I wanted to do like a career switch.
Oh, okay.
So I worked like professionally as a violinist for my whole life.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I see it.
You see it?
I see it.
Is it because I'm Korean?
No, I think it's just like your posture.
Oh, my posture.
Like I can see it. Like I could just if you just put a violin here, like I'm like, oh yeah.
The imaging. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I did that for a long time. And I don't know, it's like weird when you like do something for 20 years and you think like, am I going to do this for another 50?
Right.
Like that thought there like terrified me.
Oh yeah.
So
for sure.
I had some friends convince me. I'm in software engineering now.
Oh wow.
I know, right?
Okay,
I like that reaction.
She's a smarty pants. Like I was coding on Tumblr, but you are actually coding.
Yes. So I moved back for that. And I guess because I was in a long-term relationship for most of my like adult life in LA, when I moved back, that's when I was like, I'm single, I'm older, I'm more confident.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna do it all. And I think that's when like the dating craze kind of happened. That was like the initial motivation, right?
Oh, for sure.
But then yeah, I started documenting it and like people get so invested and I'm like, wait, who am I doing this for? Anyways, it gets very confusing.
Okay.
Dating is like a confusing like hodgepodge in my head.
Right. And then to post it online as well, like that adds another layer of complication.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
I feel that like, you know, the start of this podcast was a lot of like, oh, I'm single, I'm on Hinge. Let's share about like dating, because I love talking about it.
Yeah.
Like it's just like girl talk.
Oh
like
my gosh, it's so fun. It's so fun. Yeah.
But then after a certain point, I was like, oh, am I going on these dates, and do I think that like these dating stories make me interesting?
Oh.
Like, you know, like whenever I like caught up with my friends, it was always like, oh, here's the latest date I went on.
Yeah.
And never like other check-ins about like how I'm doing and all that, because my mind was like so preoccupied with dating.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wait, when was this for you?
This was like so I'm taking a dating break. It's been like maybe 3-4 months.
That's pretty good.
That's the longest I've ever gone.
I relate to I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
If it's intentional.
Yeah, it's very intentional. I just had to like reset my dopamine.
Okay.
I was getting like so much validation and like, you know, all those like happy feelings from like texting people, like going on dates, and like maybe them wanting a second date.
Right.
And I was like, I need to stop
Yeah.
this. Like, I feel a little crazy. And so yeah, I'm taking a huge dating break, but definitely living vicariously through your dates.
Oh my gosh.
And so yeah, I mean, for the people who like don't know like your most recent updates, like what's been going on? What dating era are you in right now?
Oh my God. I think, okay, maybe you can relate to this, but like I used to find dating so fun, like incredibly fun, because I can already sense like the people loving energy from you.
Yes.
But like I think that's what made dating so fun. I'm like, oh my God, like I love people, first of all, right?
Right.
And then like, okay, who doesn't like a little bit of attention?
I love attention. tell me I'm cute, or like buy me a milk, cute.
It feels great, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, I love people, I love attention, I love the validation, I love like, it's just romance is just so fun. And then like telling the girlfriends like, it's a good time. But the era I'm in right now is like, it's a new feeling, but I'm like, maybe I'm tired of dating. I know.
Oh my gosh.
It's like stupid saying it out loud, but like it's such a new feeling for me.
No, that is new.
Because like people say, oh, she's a serial dater, but it's not coming from a lack of validation. It's just like I found it so fun. So I'm like, why should I consciously tell myself not to do it?
Right.
If I find it fun and exciting.
Right. Because I can also tell you're like a people person, and like, I don't know, for me at a certain point, I think like very beginning of like dating, I was very much like, boyfriend, like I want a relationship. But then having gone on so many dates, it turned into, you know what, let's not put pressure on this. Let's just meet somebody new and like see what they can like maybe teach me about like one of their passions, one of their hobbies. And so it just turned into me just like data gathering. Like I was just collecting data. I was like, oh, I can tell you what like cryptocurrency is. Like I can tell you about football and all of that, because the guys on the dates just like, oh, I'm passionate about this, I'm gonna teach you about this. It's
literally like a live like podcast listening event.
It really is. And so I can like kind of get a sense of like who you are through your TikTok and like also like in person right now. And so I think like one thing I struggled with was like figuring out if I actually liked the guy.
Oh my God, yeah.
Do you feel that?
Oh, like 100%.
Yeah?
It's like always been like an afterthought. I don't even like, maybe it's a question I ask myself after I break up. Like as I'm grieving a breakup, I'm like, wait, why am I so sad? Did I even like him?
Right.
And then you like think about it then.
Right. Like I always hear that like the person probably wasn't that special, but it's because like you made them out to be special.
God.
And I'm like, you're right. I think I like assigned like meaning and expectation, and maybe because like I really did like them, that's why.
Maybe.
Are
you like lover girl vibes?
Oh, absolutely. Like absolutely. If you look at like my reading list, it's just all like cutesy, like
wait, what's a reading list? Oh, like books you read.
Like book talk. Yeah. And then if you look at my like watch history on Netflix, it's just like Korean dramas and like dating shows, and I'm like, this is so cute. I'm like kicking my feet.
Yeah. You're such a romance girl.
Yeah. Are you? Do you think you're a lover girl?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
But like what you just said, like you make someone out to be special, not because you've asked yourself like, why are they special? I think that's the lover girl in me. Like I just innately think everyone, maybe it's lover girl, like people loving kind of person.
Oh yeah.
I just think like people are so special and unique because I don't know you.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm like, whoa, you like, okay, it could be so stupid, but like crypto, I'm like, wow, you're so passionate about this one thing that I don't know. Like you're already unique. Right. So you're so cool.
Right. It's just like seeing like beauty in everyone.
Yeah.
And just like value in them because they're like human.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so speaking of like putting people, maybe in like a light that they didn't deserve, I think that leads to like one of my dating rules. And so I know that you have been doing a little series on dating rules.
I did.
And so yeah, today just kind of wanted to chat about a little bit of that, because my number one dating rule has actually been you're not allowed to stalk the guy prior to the date. Because what I would do is, I would stalk them on everything. LinkedIn, Spotify, Instagram.
Spotify is your number 2 that you bring up. That's so funny. Okay.
Because it's so easy to be like, oh, what artist are you listening to? And then bring up an artist that they listened to recently,
Have you heard of this artist?
Yeah, it's like really underground, really indie. And they're like, oh my gosh, like
she's the one.
Yeah. And so, with all of the stalking and maybe looking at the types of posts that they're posting, and then being like, oh, they're this kind of person.
You're kind of assuming.
I'm assuming a lot about them. Yes. And so I would just get really into my head and almost subconsciously mold myself into the person I think they would like.
Oh my gosh.
And so that became my number one dating rule. And so I guess for you, what are some of your what are some of your top dating rules?
Oh my gosh. First of all, I think like making sure that we don't mirror the person. Like you said, like it's basically like that's so dangerous.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Because you can't keep up with it forever. Or maybe you can.
No, I can't. I feel like at the 3-month mark, I'm like, I'm out. I can't do this anymore. Your girl's tired, you know?
You know, I actually hated EDM, but...
Wait, yeah. I feel like that's happened before.
Yeah.
Like I'll like, you know, pretend to tolerate an artist.
Oh my
gosh. I
gosh.
really don't.
Yeah, I mean, sidetracking, but like when you date an art guy and you're like, oh, your art is so cool because you want to like gas him up.
Right.
But you actually hate it.
Right. Like...
What do you do then?
To be honest, like there have been so many instances where I'm like, yeah, send me your SoundCloud link. Completely regret it. Or like literally have had people sing at me.
Oh my God.
Like I am Barbie in the Barbie movie.
Oh my God.
It's wild. And like I'm like not just one occasion, not just one guy, but multiple occasions, multiple guys. I'm like, you have a guitar in your trunk? Okay, cool. Cool. Yeah.
I'd rather get sung happy birthday than that. Like,
oh my God.
You know?
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, like, but my rules, okay, so I like love to dream and like fantasize about people. Well, this sounds weird, but like, you know, about what people might be like. So I think like a big rule I've been trying to practice for me is like not telling too many people about like first dates or like first dates I'm about to go on.
Ooh.
Like I could sit here and be like, oh my God, like there's this guy, like he does X for work and he's taking me here and like he does these hobbies. Like I think the more I talk about someone, the more I'm giving them like a place in my head, right?
Right. It like makes it like it's almost like tricking yourself into liking them more.
Yeah. Or like faking an attachment to them. Like I'm already attached to this person.
Right.
So like it's tricky because like that's like what's fun to do on TikTok as like my content, but I'm like it's hurting me at the end because I start getting attached to these people and like you want to make people sound interesting, right? So you end up like drawing in like random things like, oh, he skateboards, like he goes outdoors and skateboards, like can you believe it? You know, it's just like he's not that important, like I don't need to talk about him like that.
Right, for sure.
That's like so, a big rule.
Ooh, I like that. I don't think I've learned that yet. Like I still am like as soon as I'm going on the date, like bet you I am on Instagram recording a video for my close friends.
Oh my God.
And then like,
what do you typically say though?
I mean, it's always just like, oh, he does this. Because, okay, one thing I have learned is pre-date, I'm like, right, that whole mindset of this is just a person. I can like just learn something, if anything, a funny date story. But the post-date is the same, except like I'll assign meaning to like too many things that I shouldn't be. Like, it's like, oh my God, he held the door open. Like, dude, he probably heard that on TikTok.
Yeah.
And was like, oh, let me do this. I'm gonna score some points with her. You know, like what? Like what? Like why are we assigning like pedestal level worthy like king for status? The bare minimum. Yeah. So yeah, I think
that's a good point.
Maybe I need to do a little bit less talking.
Well, it seems like you're on the right track, like no stalking. I feel like pre and post first date, like I guess that's a general rule. I'm like first date is like, it's whatever. Like don't read into it at all.
Yeah.
Cause like, have you ever been on a bad date? Like genuinely bad date?
Yeah.
Oh, you have?
Have you not been on a bad date?
No.
You've never been on a bad date?
Okay, like bad would be like, maybe I was a little bored.
Oh.
But nothing like, oh my God, this guy was the worst and I wish I had never said yes. Like nothing like that.
Oh God. Oh my gosh. I definitely had like, I think there was like a streak of bad dates that I went on. Yeah. And so one of them that like stands out in my mind is like, right, this guy was like, okay, like I'm doing a boot camp.
Okay.
Right. For, you know, some career switch.
Okay.
So I was like, okay. And he was like, okay, it's like at the beach, like Manhattan Beach, whatever. Like that's where the boot camp was held.
Wait.
Like their office. Their office was their office was in Manhattan Beach. And so he was like, so let's meet at this like one restaurant. Like as soon as I get off of like my boot camp, like we'll go meet there. Right. And so I was like, okay. So drove there and I was like, oh, I really got to pee. I'm going to go inside. So I go inside. I'm like texting him. I'm like, oh, I'm in the restroom. And he goes, oh, we're not actually like eating there. And I was like, what? He's like, yeah, just like come out when you're done. And so I like left the restaurant, very awkward because, you know, restrooms are for paying customers only. So I go out and then he's like, oh yeah, like, you know, I'm in boot camp, like I'm not making any money, I'm like losing money. And so like I was just thinking we would like walk along the beach.
Stop.
And so I was like, okay, maybe this is an investment. That's fine. Like,
not you working overtime to justify what just happened.
I know. And so, right, date continues. We're like walking along the beach. And like, I was like, oh, okay, he seems like a solid guy, right? And then at one point, what happened? Oh, we like had made like basically like a full loop. And he was like, oh, shoot, I forgot to like, I forgot something like in my boot camp's like office building, whatever, like let me go up to get it. Okay. Right, so he like goes up and like as I'm like walking to like go through the door like slams behind him and like he leaves me literally out. It's like dark, there are low-key like unhoused people around and I'm like, what is going on? Like I'm a little scared, like it's dark, there's nobody here. And then he like eventually like comes back and he's like, oh, okay, like I got it. And like literally didn't say a single thing about it. And I'm like, I'm confused. Like what just happened? And then basically like date ended and like he texted me afterwards, but I was just like, I don't want to do this. But I was just like, I feel like that was a little bad.
That is actually really bad.
Right? Like I was like, okay, first of all, like let's make it clear what we're doing. Cause like, dude, I was hungry. That's so misleading. Yeah, exactly.
Wait, so you didn't eat at all? You were just walking in the beach and stranded outside?
Yeah. It was just like my feet were getting exfoliated from the sand, you know? Like that.
Oh, you were walking on the sand too?
Yeah. And so that all happened. And then yeah, just like, cool.
That's a bad date.
Yeah, it was bad.
Nothing in your research told you that this could have happened?
Dude, he seemed completely normal. And also, we had a mutual. Like we had a mutual friend. So I was like, oh, how could this happen?
Did you talk to your mutual about?
I did. I was like, hey, like, what's this dude's deal? And she was like, oh, yeah, he's like nice. Like, I've only met him a few times. But yeah, like, he's okay. And then, of course, afterwards, she's like, oh, yeah, he's a little weird.
Oh, my God.
And I was like, bro, that's literally the entire point of me asking you is for you to warn me.
Should we dump that friend?
It's okay. We'll let it slide. Okay. Yeah. We'll let it slide for now. But, okay, so no bad dates.
Honestly, nothing to that level. Like, I've never had a bad first date, which is why I shouldn't read into any good first dates. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay, yeah.
Like, if none have been bad, they're obviously all going to be good. So I always say, like, you know, I was there. Like, that's why I had a good time.
Yeah.
So it's like, why am I always like, oh, the man did this and he did this. That's why it was so wonderful. It's like, no, I'm actually, I think I'm an optimist too. Like, I could spin any weird things and be like, you know, it was good. It was quirky.
Yeah.
It was creative.
Yeah.
Such a unique guy. Like, what a special guy. I've never met anyone like him.
Right. I'm like, I can't even like describe his personality.
Yeah, he's
just so different.
He's so interesting. And like, I can learn something from him. So I'm like, girl, you need to snap out of that. Like,
right.
So,
okay, yeah.
Don't read into first dates. Like, at least for me, that's a big rule.
Okay, nice. I kind of along the same lines. I feel like I always come out of first dates like honestly neutral. Yeah. Like there's never like, oh my God, that was like, if it was amazing, I'm like trying to manage the expectation. But if it was bad, I'm like, maybe he had an off day. Like maybe he was nervous. And so I'm like, you know, most first dates are neutral. And so actually a dating tip that my mom gave me was like, you have to go on 3 dates.
Oh, yeah. Like, I was going to ask if you have like I should do at least X amount.
Yeah. And so 3? I try to do 3. I think 3 is low key a lot.
I think 3 is a lot.
Yeah. Just because I'm like, I think I can tell by 2.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, like not that many people get to 3 dates, I will say. Like, I feel like it's usually 1 or 2.
Right.
But yeah, I think like just trying to make sure that like maybe I'm not having an off day and like maybe he's not having an off day. And then also like switching settings. Because I noticed that like when I go on like 2, like maybe say like dinner dates, I'm like, oh, like I wish we had like done an activity for one.
Right.
Or like walked around for one. Or like maybe like I need to see him in the daytime.
Oh yeah.
You know?
Yeah, in the daytime.
Yeah.
Being seen together.
Oh, are you like good with like, oh, okay, like being seen by friends or like meeting up with friends on like your first maybe 2 dates?
Oh, hell no.
Okay. I was
Do
like,
you?
oh no, absolutely. Oh no.
Oh, hell no. I'm like, we have to be exclusive if you're going to meet my friends.
Even then, I'm like, we have to do this very carefully.
Yeah. I'm like, I don't know. I just don't want to like mesh everyone together until like,
Yeah.
yeah, scary.
Oh yeah, for sure. And then like also like not to mention, right? We live in LA, like we're in K-Town.
Yeah.
And so everyone like knows everyone.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Especially like I feel like at our age, it's kind of like what overlaps are there that I don't even know about.
Oh my gosh. It's so funny. It's been happening more often now, but like I'll get like messages from girls being like, I think we dated the same person.
What?
And I'm like, oh my God. It's so fun though, because it's so rare, right? Like how many times have you met someone that has also dated the same person as you?
Oh, never.
Right?
Yeah, maybe once actually.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Why is it a maybe?
Because I'm not remembering. I like don't remember if like my friend actually ended up following through
Oh, I see.
on the date. But we definitely have like talked to people that like overlap.
Yeah, it's like fun to be like, oh my God, and he did this, and then it's like it's a fun time.
Right.
But yeah, there are overlaps in LA, which is scary.
Yeah. Does it like ever like make you nervous or like hesitant?
No, because it's like, I mean, we're talking with the girls. I think it's a safe space, right? Like I don't worry about it, but yeah, bringing him to just meet my friends is kind of a big deal to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then when you say like a big deal, like besides being exclusive, are there like other things that like you kind of want checked off before he meets your friends? Like what is the like process like? Is it like, okay, now we're boyfriend girlfriend? You can meet everyone?
Girl, I don't know. It's been so long since I've met someone that has even gotten to that stage of dating.
Oh, okay.
Right? Like when was your last
relationship?
Yeah.
Or like guy who's met my friends?
What do you count as like, okay, like this guy was significant in my life?
So I think so this is like a big issue with me.
Okay.
I am like a control freak. And so I think because like there's somebody out of my body that is like in a way representing me.
Okay.
And so I don't have control over them. Like it freaks me out.
So wait. Somebody out of your body?
So like
a partner? Okay.
Yeah. Like, you know, like me, like I can very much control like how I'm perceived and like, right, like in a way, like I'm like, okay, I can work a room like if I want to and whatnot. But then when it like comes to my partner, I'm like, they are their own person.
Yeah.
Like they might say something embarrassing.
Yeah.
And like I think it freaks me out, like the possibility that like people will be like, oh, Hannah's into that kind of guy.
Oh my gosh, I see what you're saying.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so when it comes to meeting my friends, like it is very, very, like the odds are very low. Even my ex, right, circumstances were very different because we were in COVID. And so I was almost like glad that like we couldn't be seeing people because I like didn't want him to meet my friends, even though he was good and nice and like, right, like I liked him. I was still very much like, I don't know, like if he's gonna be able to like handle my friends or like, you know, like all the what ifs would like pop into my head.
Wait, was that more of an issue like I don't know him well enough yet, or like I need to suss out like different things about him, or it's just like I don't feel confident in his personality at all?
I think it was 3. Like I wasn't confident in his personality. Like I didn't know, because you know how
that's
like
tough
when you're meeting someone and because it's like such an enclosed space and it's just you two, like you're a certain way.
Yeah.
But then as soon as you see them in a different like environment, it's
yeah.
like, who is this?
Yeah.
Like, who is this new part of you that I'm like just now like seeing and meeting? And so I think it was a lot of that, because for the first like literally 6 months of us dating, like it was just one-on-one and it was just like outdoor activities because of our situation.
Right.
Yeah. And so I don't know. I think meeting friends is really big. Honestly, way scarier than like maybe meeting parents.
Yeah, because you have to actually like interact
Yes.
Like you see like their social interactions. Honestly, the part about like not knowing if they're gonna say something to embarrass you is like so real, or embarrass themselves.
I mean, have you had like
No, but
situations?
I like recently witnessed like very close couple to me. Like I noticed the girl would say like, you know, when they tease like, oh yeah, like somebody doesn't buy me flowers, like when is he gonna do that? And you know, like it's like obviously like teasing, but it's also kind of like petty,
Real?
malicious, a little bit.
Like I'm like, there's definitely truth to that.
Yeah,
right there.
they're like airing their dirty laundry outside with a smile on their face.
Yeah, to the public. Like,
Yeah,
that's a little
I would be so scared if my partner did that to me. Like, what? Like, this is not funny. You're like calling me out
in a setting where like we aren't even able to like communicate it.
Yeah,
clearly,
and everyone was laughing because like you're saying it like as a joke.
Right.
I don't know. That scares me.
Oh, actually, interestingly enough, I have like a couple friend.
Yeah, a couple friend.
I'm like, can't speak today. But like that is one of their like relationship rules, is like if we are ever like in an outside environment and there's something that you need to bring up, like you're like, please don't bring it up.
Yeah.
Like just yet, because not only like are you making the other people potentially uncomfortable,
Right.
but like let's like resolve this in like a space where we're like able to like clearly communicate.
Yeah, without like pettiness or passive aggressive.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, I just thought of another rule of mine.
Yeah.
I will talk about this openly with my girlfriends, but I will never ask a guy like, what's your type?
Oh, that's
And-
very specific.
Yeah. And like this comes from like one of my past dating experiences, right? Like
Yeah.
he had prompted the question. He asked me first, like, oh, like what's your type? And you know, I was like kind of thinking about it. I was like, let me think about my answer. You go first.
Oh no.
And like he proceeded to like say things that like weren't necessarily physical, but like it was like things that like could be interpreted wrong. And so he said, oh, I like it like when a girl is confident. Like I really don't like it when like people are insecure and like they like whatever, right? And so my whole thing was, oh, okay, does that mean that like anything I'm going through, like anything that shows even the teeniest ounce of insecurity, I can't share with you? Because I'm like a very like vulnerable person. Like I love like getting deep and like into like the things that like I'm potentially like struggling with.
Yeah.
And so I feel like it created a wall.
Oh
of,
yeah.
like,
I would feel so self-conscious after he said that.
Yeah. And so I was like, I don't think like I'm an insecure person, but like now I'm like, does vulnerability equate to insecurity?
Or could he view your vulnerability?
Yeah. And so I've like completely stopped asking people like, what's your type? Because I felt like that was the downfall of like that whole relationship.
Oh.
Yeah. And so, yeah, that's definitely like a hard rule of mine.
That's good. Like, don't ask questions. Well, for me, it's like, don't ask questions you don't want to hear the answers to.
Yeah.
But that's a good one. And you just get more in your head
Yeah.
when they answer that.
Yeah.
I guess I have a similar like questions I don't ask, because I don't like to ask like, what are your intentions on this app? Or like, at least on the first date, I try not to.
Okay. What's like the reasoning?
I feel like, I guess with you, you're like, oh, I'm very comfortable being vulnerable. I think mine is like, I can get very serious quickly.
Oh, okay.
Like,
yeah.
and I feel like bringing up the dating intentions questions, it kind of brings out that like serious side of me where I'm like, well, you know, obviously the answer for me is like long term. I want to get married, and you know, I'm dating for compatibility, blah, blah, blah. I think I just get way too serious, way too quick on the first date, and they know all about me. They like, you know, I just feel like it just opens this box that like maybe doesn't need to be answered quite yet.
Ooh, okay. It's like almost like let's do it in like due time, but like for now, like I'm just getting to know you.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I don't know. For me, it just gets so. I've like witnessed so many times. It's like the banter is there, and then boom, like serious, like, oh, like,
right.
I want to get married. It's just like, bro, I just met you an hour ago, and now I'm telling this. I just think it's too much for me.
I see.
Yeah.
Like, so, I mean, do you think it's because like it like brings you into a serious mood, or do you think it's because their intentions like don't really align? Like,
okay, there's like that line, like, if it's the right person, nothing you say can scare them off, kind of thing. I'm like, okay, I do believe in that, but I also recently have been believing like things can reveal itself in due time. And it doesn't seem like I'm not trying to hide anything from you, but it's like I just met you, and I think there are things that I can show now and things that can wait a little bit. I'm not trying to mislead you. But for me, I felt like when I get too serious, like the dudes think like, oh my God. Like I really think maybe I'm just protecting myself, but I think they think, oh, she wants something really serious. And I'm like scared by that. When it's like, I'm not sussing you out for husband material right now, but I'm just saying like, I'm not just trying to hook up basically.
Right.
But like, I feel like the dudes interpret it
as like,
she's serious.
Right. Like she's literally like, am I her husband?
Yeah.
And it's like, when I share, I totally feel you. Cause it's like when I share, like I'm looking for a long-term relationship, I'm like, that doesn't necessarily mean with you.
Yeah, like chill.
I just met you too. Like I'm just saying like, hopefully if you are the right person, then like this is the intention. But like they interpret it as like, oh, I am.
She's like husband. On the prowl for a husband. Like, oh no,
Yeah.
So it's like, I think it's like a perception thing. Like I think like, oh, I'm being vulnerable and I'm being honest. And this is like nice, but like ultimately I think their perception of it usually is like, holy shit, like
she's a slow down.
Yeah.
Like
she's into me, she wants kids like with me. I'm like, no.
Right. I'm like, no, nobody said that. But then like if you're saying like, oh, like I want to get married and all that, and I'm not gonna go out and say like, oh, not necessarily with you.
Right.
'Cause that's a little rude.
Exactly. So I just avoid it altogether.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
When do you think is like an appropriate time to bring up the intentions conversation?
I don't know, probably like date 3. Like to me, I think date 3 is like, I'm only going to go on date 3 if I see my intentions.
If you're my husband.
Yeah, basically you may propose now. Like,
right.
Date 3?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, where's the rock?
That makes sense to me.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I'm dead serious. But I think that's a good time,
okay,
where you spend some time together and then you guys start talking about your future, perhaps.
Right.
I don't know. That's my rule.
Okay, yeah. Because I think that's something I constantly struggle with. Like when to bring up like the intentions conversation. Like I kind of like A/B tested it in a low-key way of just, there are some guys where like I'll bring it up like maybe 3 months in. I noticed that
3 months?
3 months is so long though, because by that time, I'm bringing that up because I am an anxious mess.
Yeah.
Like, I'm literally
I can't believe 3 months.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, no. And so I think 3 months, I was doing that for a little bit. And then there would be times where I was like, you know what? Let's not waste my time. I'm going to bring it up before the date.
Before the date?
Yeah, literally.
Over
like,
text?
Talking on the apps. Yeah.
Oh my,
like,
on Hinge?
Yeah. Yeah, we haven't even gotten to phone number. We haven't even, yeah. And so I've done that. But then with that, I always get the same answer of like, I'm just going with the flow.
Oh my God.
I'm like, bitch, me too.
Yeah.
Like literally, yeah.
Who isn't?
No, yeah. I'm like, can you give me some, like, but I don't think guys think in that way of like, if I find the right person, this is what I'm looking for. It's always like, speaking directly to the girl, for the guys. I don't know.
I have so many theories on that too, but
yeah,
I feel like it's always about right time for them.
Oh,
have you met guys that are like, I just like, I want to have things in order before I like even have the mental space to think about women.
Yeah,
like you could be the right girl for them, but they're just like, so I think it's the right time for them.
Yeah, actually, yeah, I think. So I've been reading All About Love by Bell Hooks, and she like talks about how like career and stability has such an impact on like self-confidence.
Yeah.
And so now that you just said that, I'm like, you know what? Maybe it's not actually about the job itself and the stability itself, but maybe it's about the confidence that they have, like when they do have those things. And so I'm like, okay, maybe I need to be a little bit nicer. But like also, I'm not here to like wait around and like focus on potential and all that. Like maybe a little bit, because
just for funsies,
yeah, like, you know, people can grow, people can change, and people are always like working towards things,
right?
But like let's see like a little bit of progress right now,
when you're dating.
Yeah, or like at least like let's have a plan a little bit, you know, of like steps.
We also like what triggered like rule making for you?
I think it was literally like my dating experiences. Like all of my rules I think stem from like, oh, I don't think that worked. Like let's try something else. Yeah. But then, okay, to be honest, now I'm like, should we throw all the rules away? Oh. Like, do you ever think about like, maybe I like don't need to freak out? Because I think I used to be like, if they don't make a reservation, like if they don't open the door, like if they're not walking on the outside of the sidewalk, like I was like, they're not for me. And then I was talking to my dad and he was like, Hannah, what if they don't know? And I was like, oh, damn it. You're kind of right. Right. And so in a way, I'm like, maybe I need to throw out all the rules, and like maybe the criteria has to be like, are they teachable? You know, like can they be taught these things that like I think should be innate? You know?
Oh yeah, so many innate qualities. I'm like, this is a no-brainer.
You're right. But for you, like, have you always had these rules?
No, you know, it's like I was like always no rules, right? See people for who they are. But it's interesting, like the rules I have, they're more for me, not for like what I expect of others. Oh, okay. Because I think, okay, not that it's gotten to my head, maybe a little bit, but it's like maybe I'm the problem. Oh? Am I the problem, you know? Right. And not because I'm not in a relationship right now. I don't think me being single does not mean I succeeded or failed in anything. But like, I think when I think about why do I get so like attached and heartbroken, like why is that such like a perpetual cycle for me? I think it's because of the way I like show up on these dates, you know? Okay. So like I made rules to like basically remind me to not be so attached. Oh. Yeah, it's not like, oh, the men should act like this. Right. It's like I should not act a certain way. Okay. Yeah. Because when you're dating, like attachment wise, like do you think you run a little bit more anxious? Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah. Yeah. I've definitely met men who trigger it more and people who like calm me down. Ooh. But I know I'm baseline like anxious. Are there qualities that like maybe make you a little bit more anxious in dating? Like is it like when the guy is like really good looking, or like, oh wait, what? Like is it when like the guy is like, oh shoot, like he's really attractive, or like, oh he has an amazing job and he's great on paper, and so it makes you more anxious? Or like, no, it's like their actions that make me anxious. Oh, like what? Okay, one time there was this guy who said like, I think he was an idiot, but he was like randomly he goes, oh yeah, I want to introduce you to my family. What? Like, I think you should live with me for a little bit. And I was like, I'm crazy, right? I'm like thinking maybe I could make this work. What? And then I said, no, I don't know you that well. Right. And then it like changes. He's like, you know, I just like you as a friend. I was like, what? Like that switch up. So when men are confusing and they go back and forth, like that makes me anxious. Oh, okay. Because like I commit to when they were being crazy too. I'm like, I'm gonna go deep dive, be crazy with you. Right. And then they go to sleep, they wake up and they're like, no. And I'm like, wait. It's like the whiplash, you know? Yeah. That's what makes me anxious. Okay. Yeah, that's like so understandable. It's like, stop being confusing. Yeah, exactly. But for you, it's hot guys that make you anxious? I think it's when people are good on paper. Oh. And like when I'm like attracted to them, right? Because I've also A/B tested with this where I'm like, you know what? Looks aren't everything. Looks don't like last. No, I think if I'm not attracted to the person, I don't want to date them. Yeah. You know? Yeah. Like I that's something like I'm like, I used to like, you know, like try to like compromise on. I'm not compromising anymore because I've like, that's your thing. Yeah. I've just like started to notice that like, it's like it's not worth it to like compromise on like
things I want, right? It's not, I'm not desperate enough yet.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's always like when they're good on paper, like, and when I'm attracted to them, or like not a recent thing, but like, I think a big thing is always when we have like very similar music tastes, because music is like so important to me. Like, it's definitely like the way that I connect with people. And like, if you know this niche indie artist, I'm freaking out.
Yeah.
You know? And
Soulmates.
so, yeah. And like, I think it's hard to find.
It is.
You know? For someone to have like such similar music taste. So I'm like, oh my God, I can't let this person go. And then when I'm anxious, like I'm not myself, and it just like turns into like a whole thing. And so I'm just trying to not look at the person for who they are on paper.
Okay.
You know?
I like that.
Yeah.
That's kind of like same going along with your like not stalking them.
Yes.
But I get the obsession with like, oh, they're so good on paper. I think for me it's like I feel like my partner would be an extension of myself. Like when we go out and we meet people, right? Or like you meet my friends, my family. Like he's a reflection of me ultimately.
Right.
So it's like if you're good on paper, then like I know in my head, like at least first impression wise, like it'll be a good reflection of me. Like,
oh yeah,
it makes you feel secure in that way, or at least for me.
Yeah, for sure. Have you ever had like experiences where they're really good on paper, but you're disappointed in person?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I recently thought about this one person, stacked resume on hobbies, interests, like coolest things, you know.
It's like, oh my God, he probably surfs, like.
Yeah, but plays music, makes music, art, cooks, you know, all the good things.
Right.
And then you get to like talk to them and something is just so bland.
Oh God.
I'm like, I just felt like he used those hobbies to fill his void, like fill a void.
Oh, interesting.
In developing like
an actual
a sense of self, or you know what I mean?
Okay, yeah.
I was like, why am I so disappointed? Like, you are a cool person.
Right.
You've done a lot of cool things, but like, it's just like, he's like, I did this. And I'm like, cool.
Like, is there anything more to you?
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So good on paper doesn't always translate as like chemistry for me.
Yeah. Yeah. I've had like so many experiences where I'm like, this should work out.
Yeah.
We're like 86% compatible. So like, why isn't it
clicking?
Yeah. Why isn't it clicking? And so, yeah, I think I'm also like trying to do that where I don't have like such a checklist.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah. Like I got rid of I have like a 50 bullet point PowerPoint of things I want.
Oh, like non-negotiables or like
fine.
Wants.
Like I'm lenient on the maybe negotiable, but yeah, my wants. But like I just like threw it all out the window because I think even if someone met all of those things, it's like there has to be chemistry.
Right. And you can only find that out like in person.
Exactly.
Yeah. Which also like brings me to another dating rule. I really try not to like talk to anyone for more than a week. Like I am matching with them like Tuesday or Wednesday and going out on the date like that weekend.
Yeah.
Because otherwise I'm like, why am I spending so much time like texting you?
You get invested?
Yeah.
Do you get invested?
Oh, absolutely. I am all over it. Like I am. There have been like definite times where I'm like, oh, we texted for like 6 hours. Like,
oh my God.
Like, it's just like, I had to pull out the laptop, you know?
Oh my God.
I'm like, that's so ridiculous. And this was like all pre-first date.
Yeah,
like,
that's scary.
Yeah. So yeah, I really like tried to limit that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a stupid rule similar to that, but I never save their numbers until day 3.
Really?
Yeah, you're just a string of numbers on my phone.
Oh, I like that. Wait, are you like a one person or do you go out on dates with like multiple people? Do you have a roster?
I will roster date.
Okay.
Yeah.
Me too.
But it's like, I don't consider it roster dating if it's like, I do 5 first dates in the span of 2 weeks.
Okay.
But if it's like, I'm seeing multiple people multiple times, I don't think I could do that.
Okay, yeah.
Have you tried that? Like 3 dates with 3 different people.
It's never like I'm going on like a 3rd, 4th date with somebody. It's always the first
yeah.
of like this is our first date, but it's with different people.
I don't necessarily think that counts as roster dating. Because it's not a roster.
Right. We need to give that a name. We're just like serving options.
It's just a buffet, you know?
Oh, yeah. It's a little buffet.
I just try it. I'm not committed to anything.
Right. Okay, so you're a buffet dater.
I'm a buffet dater. I'm buffeting this era.
Right.
But I'm also so tired of it.
Right. And so, like, when it comes to buffet dating, do you ever get the guys confused?
Oh my God. That's why I try not to do this. Oh, I remember you told me. I just like, don't, Joyce. Don't even. Oh. You don't remember anything.
Right. Right.
So I try not to say that.
Okay.
It's bad because I don't save their numbers, but I go back. I'm like, your name is Henry. This is Henry. I'm going on a date with Henry. I have to say it multiple times, like getting out of the car.
Right.
I do like a quick scroll through our text, you know, any like important things I need to remember.
Study a little bit.
Just a little bit, you know, of a review. And I try not to speak too much.
Oh.
I just let them do it.
Oh, you let them talk more?
I let them talk, yeah.
Oh.
You're a talker?
I like love talking, but
what if they don't ask you questions?
So that's the thing is like, because I love talking, I find myself like filling empty spaces with me asking them questions, and then it turns into an interview.
Oh.
You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, oh my God.
It's your natural state.
I'm like, I'm just interviewing people. Which like, right, this is fine.
Right.
Right. In a sense, like, I'm a host, like, and all of that. But like, if we're on a date, I'm not interviewing you.
No.
Yeah. And so I've tried to like lay off like all of the question asking.
That's good.
Yeah. I try to like revel in the silence now.
Oh yeah. I just like look down and eat for a second, and then they'll feel uncomfortable and be like, so do you have any pets? Like, perfect. Let's talk about pets.
Right.
You know?
So do you have any hobbies? I'm like, oh, now I do, because everyone asks that freaking question.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, so do you tell them about your podcast?
Oh my gosh. I really try not to, just because like my content is a lot of dating and like, right, that whole like rule of not stalking someone before the date. I don't want them to stalk me and like make all these assumptions about me.
Yeah.
And it's like, bro, you literally don't know who I am.
Right.
Also, I'm an ever-changing, ever-evolving human being.
Yeah,
and
of course.
so like, let's not take something I said a year ago and like, you know, assume that about me.
Mm-hmm.
So I really try not to. But then inevitably, because I'm spending so much time on the podcast, they're like, what'd you do today? I'm not going to be like, oh, I met up with a friend. Like, it's like I edited for 7 hours and then like whatever. And so now I've started to tell them, but I will say like, oh, hey, like I have a podcast, like it's, and if they ask me more questions, I'll answer. But I'm always like, oh yeah, like try not to listen to too much. Like, I want you to get to know me like in person. Yeah. Yeah. What about you?
Oh, hell no.
You never tell them about your TikTok?
Oh my God. Do you see the content I post on there?
Well, yeah. Do you ever feel like too vulnerable?
Oh yeah.
What, like, how are you?
Well, it wasn't really a problem. Like, I was more in Houston, right? So like people in LA didn't know about me, but I feel like it's happening more, like the LA circle is learning about me. Or like one time I was going on a date with this guy and he posted me on his BeReal, and his friends were like, oh my God, did you know she has a TikTok?
Oh my God.
And that's how they found out. So it's like, I need to like, you know, censor the things I say. Cause I think I do come off like, my TikTok is for the girls.
It is.
It's for the girls, and like the humor is for the girls. Like, so no, I don't tell my dates. I did tell a guy I went on like 5 dates with. I was like, you know, just like wanted to let you know eventually, like I do have a social media, but I would really appreciate it if you didn't watch any of them, just out of respect for me, you know, and our relationship. And they ate that shit up when I say that. They're like, of course.
Oh my gosh.
I respect you.
Oh my gosh. And then like, right when you're posting, like right after the date happens.
Oh yeah.
Like, have people found it?
Not any of the guys I dated. But one time I went on a date with a guy who knew that I had a TikTok, and I knew that before we went on the date. And while we were on the date, he was like, please don't post me. And I was like, yes, sir.
Got you.
I won't.
Oh.
So if I have a feeling they know, or they do tell me that they know, obviously I don't post about it.
Oh, okay.
But if I'm like 100% they would never come across my content, I'm putting it up.
Okay. I like that. Just just like, you know what? Fuck it.
Yeah.
For the internet. For the
internet. And also I'm like, if they see it and like maybe, you know, some guys just need an exit interview.
Oh yeah.
I feel like they could use it. And I feel like I'm decently nice about the way I say things.
Okay, yeah.
Maybe it's like constructive.
No, it is. It's constructive criticism.
Yeah. So I'm like, maybe it's okay for them to hear it. I don't reveal any personal information, obviously, or like,
right.
I don't talk about the way they look. You know, it's just like things you did that maybe
we worked on.
Yeah. Let's rework that.
Oh, I like that. It's like, I'm just leaving a review.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And only you will know that that was about you.
Oh, wait. Has anyone been like, hey, you talked about me?
No.
Oh, okay.
That does terrify me though.
That's happened to me. Like literally I will talk about someone on the podcast.
Right.
And they'll be like, oh, was this about me?
And are you like, yes?
There was one time when I was like, yeah. Because it wasn't like horrendous. But then there was one time where I was like, I'm going to lie.
Yeah. You know what?
I was like, I don't want to. Because also, I changed some details here and there, you know? Like, if I went on a date last week, that happened 3 months ago.
Oh my God. Yeah.
You know?
Oh, you're protecting yourself.
Exactly. Because, like, they like, know too much about me, you know?
Oh, yeah.
And so I'm like...
I'm all for that.
Yeah, let me do that. And so, you know, we both have platforms where we share about our dating experiences. Like, do you ever get scared that, like, somebody won't date you because of the content you post?
I do. That's why I'm like, recently I've been more like cautious about how much I say.
Yeah.
But I go back and forth. I'm like, I'm more conscious. Like I go on a lot of dates, which like I would never judge my girlfriends for like going on as many dates as they want.
Right.
Because I know the intention behind it. Mm-hmm. Like for me, it's like about meeting people. It's not like a thirst for the male gaze or male attention, which is what I think most guys like interpret it as.
Oh.
Like I'll see the comments, you know,
Right.
like how many dates has this girl like been on, da, da, da.
Right.
So it's like I can't control the way the guys would perceive my content or my dating life. So like, yeah, there's a little bit of fear there, but I saw this TikTok recently and this girl was like, you know, the love of your life would not think this about you.
Oh.
And I'm like, if it was the right guy, like he would not be intimidated by the way I choose to live my life or the content I choose to put out.
That's true.
So I don't know, like I'm a little bit paranoid maybe, but it doesn't stop me. Why? How are you feeling about it these days?
Well, because like I'll definitely think about like how I'm being perceived by others.
Yeah.
And so I've also started to share a little bit less. But then at the end of the day, like I'm like, this podcast is like my personal public diary.
Yeah.
Like if anything, like I want to be able to like look back on it and be like, oh my gosh, I remember that.
Yeah.
And so at this point, I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to post. And then even when I think about my ex, like he was so supportive of this podcast. Like he was always like, oh, what are you going to talk next about? And like, if there was anything that had to do with like our relationship specifically, like it was always just about like communicating and making sure like he was good with it. Or like, right. I was like portraying him in like the light that he deserves, like in a good light.
Right.
And so, yeah, I think like I'm definitely in a phase of like, you know what, let's just be vulnerable. Like it's fine. My digital footprint,
who cares?
Whatever at this point. Like I feel like there's worse out there. So
Oh yeah. Wait, so do you listen to your old podcasts? Like,
you know, I will sometimes.
How do you like, is it more like, are you sentimental? Are you cringing? Are you like, whoa, I've grown so much? Like
It's usually, wow, I've grown so much.
Yeah.
Because when I started the podcast, I was like, how old was I? Oh, I was like 23, like had just graduated college and whatnot, and just like trying to figure out how to adult.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, now I like look at the things I was struggling with, and like because I've struggled with it so many times since then, like I know how to navigate it.
Right.
So it's always like with like an eye of like, oh, like we've grown so much. Like, let's see how much else like we can grow.
Yeah.
You know? So yeah, it's been really cool.
I love how it like almost serves like as a benchmark, I guess.
Yeah, for sure.
It's cool to see the growth that way.
Yeah, no, I've been like really loving that aspect of it for sure. Yeah. And then, I mean, other than that, is there anything you want to share? Any advice for like girlies?
Oh my gosh.
For our Kogis?
Your Kogis?
Yeah.
I feel like I'm in this, I know my habit is to like reflect too much. I like reflect all the time.
Ooh.
And I think about like, how can I optimize myself so I don't make the same mistakes? But I feel like that's so bad.
Ooh.
Like, it's okay to like redefine what you think your like strengths and weaknesses are. Like, I kind of like grew up thinking like my strength is I like think too much and I recalibrate. But I've been more so like telling myself like, hey, it's okay that you've evolved and maybe your strength is something different. Maybe you're okay with just like going with the flow. I know we hate hearing that, but like, maybe you don't need to learn like a hardcore lesson from every experience. Like,
ooh.
So I guess like something along the lines of like everything doesn't have to be serious and everything doesn't have to have this like grand meaning or learning lesson or anything. Like maybe that's what I've been thinking about these days.
Oh, I like that a lot.
Yeah.
I feel like I turn everything into a lesson.
Yeah.
Or like just assign too much meaning to like, oh, this happened for a reason.
Right,
like, let's
right.
figure out what the reason is.
Which I think is like a protecting mechanism is that people call it, you know?
Yeah.
But maybe we can protect ourselves in other ways. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, no, for sure. I like that a lot. Okay,
Cute.
cool.
Give us something, Hannah.
Yeah, what are some things I've been thinking about? I think I've just been thinking about burnout because I have been feeling a little burnt out, but then at the same time, like I almost feel like I'm trying to gaslight myself into not feeling burnt out so I could just like continue taking along. But yeah, so I mean, along those lines, like I was talking to my roommate earlier and she was like, what's going on? You seem a little on edge. And I was like, I have this to do, I have to do this, I have to edit this, like I have to record this. Like it was a lot.
Yeah.
She was like, you need to prioritize, which I feel like I hear that a lot.
Right.
And then I was like, they're all priorities. And she was like, you need to prioritize your priorities though. And so I was like,
It feels impossible.
yeah. But I will say, like, literally immediately after that conversation, I was like, you know what? Yeah, she's right. I need to, like, I can't do everything. And so
I hate that.
Yeah.
For me, like, I'm like, I can't do everything.
No, yeah. It's like,
it's tough.
It's freaking me out a little bit. But I'm like, you know what? Maybe instead of, like, I can't do everything, it's like, okay, let me just, like, adjust timelines a little bit for certain things.
So you're figuring out a way.
Yeah.
To do everything.
Eventually.
I like that.
Yeah. Like
I like, you could just say I can do everything eventually.
Yeah.
That brings like so much
like
peace. Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I'm just looking for peace.
Oh my gosh. I like that.
But thank you so much. This was so fun.
Oh really? I'm like feeling bad. I'm giving you more work to do.
Oh my gosh, no. Oh my gosh. I'm sorry I made you feel that way. Don't feel that way.
No. But this is so fun.
Yeah, this was so fun.
I was so nervous, but
no.
It went by so quick. You're so sweet.
Oh my gosh, no, this is so fun. Thank you for sharing your dating stories. I think my dating break is over.
No, I support it.
Oh.
As long as it's conscious and intentional.
It's true. I'm just trying to like meet someone IRL.
Oh my God, aren't we all?
Yeah. It's like really hard to have a meet cute.
It is. How can we stage one for you?
No, I know. I'm over it. I'm over like being like, should I download the dating apps? And then like, I'm like, I hate the dating apps.
You will.
So yeah, but I think, yeah, maybe we'll brainstorm places to like meet people IRL.
I like that.
Yeah.
We'll put in the work in other ways.
Yes, exactly. But for the people, where can they find you?
My username is quite straightforward. It's Joyce has a TikTok.
Okay.
On TikTok, and otherwise it's just Joyce has a.
Okay. Yeah.
Everything else.
Everything will be linked below. But yeah, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
And we'll see you next week. Okay. Bye.